Good morning. We are back at the college for the second weekend of the season, and this weekend we're talking about paint. So the main project of this weekend is to do a little bit of painting in the living room. At the end of the season last year, we were starting to think about potentially painting the ceiling right here white. The reason why we want to paint the ceiling white is because we find that there is a little bit too much similarity between the ceiling and the flooring. As you can see, both have kind of like the same color, the same texture a little bit, the same tone, so everything kind of blend a little bit all together. And what we're hoping of achieving by painting the ceiling is to create a little bit more a feeling of space when you enter the living room. The light is going to bounce a little bit more, and mainly it is going to create a separation between ceiling and the floor. This is going to be a pretty big project for us. We've done some painting last year, but all of this work were pretty small. The surfaces were not really big, so we were doing everything manually with brushes and rolls and stuff like that. So for this project, instead of doing everything manually, we are going to use a paint sprayer. So we are going to have to learn as well how this tool works. So this is the plan for the next few hours. Probably the whole prep of the place, which is step number one, removing as many stuff as possible from the living room into the back cottage or outside. And then second step is going to be taping the entire place. It's probably going to take us a couple of few hours to get everything out and tape everything. And painting the ceiling is not really going to take us that much time. It is going to be more of the preparation of the space and the understanding of the machine before we can start painting. This is something that I personally wanted to do since the end of the season, a bit more than Brie. It took me a little bit of convincing, for her to get there, but she eventually did. Hi, Squib. Tell us a little bit about how you feel about that project of painting that ceiling.
Well, I feel like it's going to get done somehow, some way. Probably have a bit of a tough day ahead of us, just in terms of coordination, but it'll be well worth it. I think it'll really brighten up the room and make Arnaud feel, like the ceiling isn't 1 inch above his head.
This is kind of like where it is. So you see, like, it's not really far from my head. We've seen also some cool setup of others people's cabin and everything that make it look like really nice. And I think it's going also to help us to tie a little bit the aesthetic together. Because right now, Brie and I will agree that we have a little bit of different pieces of different color, different style all over the place. So it's going to make the whole living room a little bit more, how you say that, like harmonious?
Yeah, perfect.
So now that you know the plan, we're gonna get to work and we will see what happens. Hopefully we don't end up putting more paint on us than the ceiling, which might happen. We'll see. Moving everything we set up last weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, step one.
Complete.
Took us what, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, so the space is completely empty now. Now the real work starts. We're gonna have to protect everything. So
it's taping time.
It's taping time. And here we have Squibby, who had the brilliant idea to use garbage bag that we don't use to cover the windows. So that's genius, because we've used already a lot of the drop sheet we bought. So only that section here after and the rest of the windows. We have 12 spotlights we need to cover. Might be the most annoying stuff, but Brie's been very genius. She found some garbage bag we're not using. She's designing little circle into this garbage bag to put it on top of the spotlight. Seems like it's gonna work. Squib?
Yes.
So the taping is done.
Yes.
So step one is done and took us 3 hours, huh? Instead of, we started at 11. That's what I realized 5 minutes ago.
Okay, and we thought it was going to take 1 hour.
Well, after 1 hour I was pretty confident, but now it's time to get to step 2, which is, let's go see how that tool, that big machine works. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so we're gonna get started with the spray painter. Now it's too late to look back, we have to go with it, so yeah, we'll see. Okay, a little bit of a crisis mode. The paint we bought last year, tested during the winter in the college, is completely off. It's like chunks everywhere. We try to move it for 10-15 minutes, but it's not doing anything.
We don't have stir sticks, and we certainly need one.
Well, now we have the paint, but
Paint's looking a little fucking weird, so... Oh god. It's frozen.
don't tell me that.
It's frozen. It's 100% frozen.
Completely. This does not look good at all. So we're getting on the ferry at 3 p.m. There is a Canadian Tire or Home Depot just around here, and we're gonna buy like a couple of buckets of paint. Learning experience. It's funny though. Okay, we wasted an hour. We just came back from Canadian Tire across from the island to pick up a couple of buckets and also some roll in case the gun decide to fail us. So we learned our mistake. Do not let paint over the winter on an island where it's going to be minus 25 degrees. When you think about it, it makes sense. I just didn't even thought about it when we closed. But we have it. We went for something pretty basic, 2 buckets in case we don't have enough, and this rolls, oh shit, and this rolls, again the machine doesn't work for some reason. Well, as you saw, we ended up using the roll. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the gun going. It took us like a little bit more than an hour to paint everything, and it definitely needs a second coat at least. Yeah, a little bit of a different plan to set to the story, but you know what? It is what it is. It was completely unplanned, so, you know.
3 hours later.
It's been an exhausting process. That's really all I could capture. As soon as we started really to use the rolls and everything, really was starting to get messy on our hands and all of that stuff, a little bit of paint everywhere. But we've learned a lot through the process. Our friends extremely nicely came over to help us clean up at the end. They wanted to see how everything was going, so that was really great. We were finishing to put everything back together, and then we just gonna go hang out. We'll catch up tomorrow for a bit more and kind of show how it looks and everything. But yeah, I think we're gonna sleep well tonight. This is the end of the second weekend. As you saw, yesterday was a day that was way more intense than anticipated, but we are really happy with the result. Here is a little bit of the result of what we're able to achieve. So you can see that the room feels way brighter than it was before. And we also feel that it's a little bit, everything is a little bit more cohesive when it comes to the decor and the design, and it's really starting to get together. So the living room is definitely the biggest room of the entire college, which is why it's taking us a lot of time, and there is a lot of steps ahead of us to make it completely the way we want. But here you can have an idea of where we are headed. Brie did a fantastic job yesterday. She works her ass off. I think again that was another great example of working as a teamwork, and when, you know, shit hit the fans, how we have to support one another and still move with the project. I think I'm the most impressed by the way we continue to push forward, even though we were like facing a lot of hurdles and difficulties during the process. We could have easily said, you know what, we'll just resume next weekend. We will, you know, go pick up the stuff we need, try to troubleshoot a little bit more the machine, but we really decided that we wanted to finish it this week. The rest of the day today was really chill. Just had a lot of coffee this morning to stay awake, and we did a little bit of small project around the house. Next weekend, I don't really know what we have in mind. We're gonna have to see. We have a lot of stuff that we'll bring up next weekend, mainly for the living room. But yes, that's it for this weekend. It was definitely a weekend that started very differently than how we finished. And a lot of stuff happened in between, a lot of stuff, but it was a great learning opportunity. And this is why we're here, and we're gonna continue to go one weekend after another, learn, enjoy it, and have fun. So this is it. We will catch up on the next one. Bye! Until next week.